Mr. Investor, welcome back to the channel, baby. I wanted to show you guys a quick video today. This was in the news. I found this report a while back, but I couldn't open the report. You have to open it using a VPN if you're in England or if you're here in Europe. Lucky enough, we got some good guys on the channel. Thank you very much, Jacob Prestige. You can find it on his YouTube channel here. He's from Prestige Financial. And you got to tell me, is it Prestige or is it Prestige or Prestige? Anyways, this is on Bionano Genomics. This was in the news over in America. News Channel 6, WJBF. I have 51,000 shares of Bionano Genomics at this moment of time. I'm waiting out to see what their plans are in terms of dilution. If they're going to, they need to raise some cash, I believe, in order to last this year and next year. And they're hoping for adoption. There could be a possible buyout on the cards. We never know. But at this moment of time, all of us are waiting to see, a ramp up in sales. We want to see revenue growing and we want to see them kind of lower their cash burn. There's a lot of money being burnt at the moment, a lot of cash burn, a lot of expenses going out. And I've been reading through the files. So I read through the 10K and I read through also the offering, the $400 million potential offering and the different securities that they might be using in future to raise cash. I'll be covering that in the next video, but for this video, please enjoy and take a look at Ravindra Kohli speaking at a news station in America. Please remember, none of this is financial advice for entertainment only. Hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, drop me some comments down below and tell me what you think. Tell me in terms of adoption, do you think we're going to get adoption in time? Tell me in terms of dilution, how you feeling hearing about this dilution and the ATM kind of facility that we have? And also, what do you think in terms of, the price going underneath $1 for 30 consecutive days and a potential reverse split? How do you think it's going to impact the company if it goes down that route? In terms of the technology, and you see always every single day or every week, I'm seeing loads of new publications every few days, and they're so interesting to me with optical genome mapping and where the technology is going. Tell me what you think about the tech as well. So do you think Bionano Genomics will fill out its full potential? And we'll take a listen to Ravindra Kohli at this news station and what he believes optical genome mapping can do.
We're always fascinated to find out about the latest research at the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University, research that often gets global attention. And today is no different. We're going to talk about something called optical genome mapping. I may say OGM throughout the interview, but optical genome mapping is something that was looked at in a recent study. Dr. Ravindra Kohli co-authored it, and he is with us now. Dr. Kohli, thank you for your research, and thanks for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for inviting us and let us discuss or bring it to our people here what we are doing.
Well, it's important too, I think, especially when it comes to cancer, a disease that touches so many people. When I first read about optical genome mapping, I thought, well, okay, this is a way to take a better picture of our genes so that you all can determine if something's wrong that could lead to cancer. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And traditionally, we have used multiple techniques to look at genome because cancer is a genome disease. Anything goes wrong with our genome gets translated into different cancers. So the newer, better technique we can use to look at this genome is going to help us, number one, make a better diagnosis, classify the disease or the cancer better, and even figure out how and what we need to do in a timely manner to treat the patients.
How did you used to look at these images of our genes, and are you talking about a better camera now? How does it all work when you go inside and take a peek?
So traditionally, we have used a technique called karyotyping. So if you remember, this is a 80, maybe 100-year-old technique where we actually look at the chromosomes, we put it on a picture, and we label them from 1 to 22 in XY or XX. And then this is a very, very low-resolution technology we have been traditionally used that is a current standard of care. And then sometimes we use targeted technique called FISH, and we look at very small, direct areas, and these two technologies, karyotype and FISH, has been used for decades to investigate all the cancers we do.
Is this photography invasive, or do you draw blood and then look at the blood?
So all the traditional methods, we take the blood out, we let the cells in the blood grow in a culture, and then we look under microscope to look at all these abnormalities or our chromosomes in the cancer cells.
What sparked your interest in building a better mousetrap? Did you just get sick of looking at blurry images and thought there has to be something? If a TV can have 4K, surely I can do the same.
Absolutely. I mean, all these years, I've been doing this for the last 10 to 12 years, and we have these patients who have 100% cancer cells in their blood, and we get these cells and then we put it in the culture, we let them grow, And with the restriction of low resolution technologies, nothing would show up. So we would just say normal karyotype or negative for fish. But on the other side, we have a patient who has a leukemia, who we don't know how to treat, how to classify because of the limitations of the technology. So this frustration, day in, day out, pretty much every single day, 40 to 50% of these patients I signed out saying that, oh, this is normal karyotype, but I know that this is 100% cancer cells, but the techniques are so limiting that it was such a frustration that I could not give better answers to our patients, and the oncologists were treating them.
You mentioned leukemia. What other kind of cancers can you detect with this mapping?
So pretty much each and every cancer, as long as we get the fresh samples. But leukemias tend to be one of the best and better use of this technology. So what we do in this technology is basically we take the same cells, but we look at the DNA. So we look at what we call as long molecule DNA, and we'll put the label on the DNA, put it on the instrument, and there is extremely high resolution camera which takes the pictures of the entire genome or the DNA and puts together for me and my team to look at on the screen. So this is revolutionary, game-changing for us. I mean, I would like to compare that with the James Webb telescope. So all these years we were looking through our eyes in the sky, and suddenly we have this extremely high resolution telescope, and we are getting to look at things we didn't know they existed. I mean, the galaxies, we're looking at galaxies we don't know existed. And this is exactly what we're doing at Genome now. So we are looking at what we call as dark matter genome, which we never have any techniques to look at them. I mean, all these years when we say we looked at genome, we traditionally looked at what we call as 2% genome. Mm-hmm. The 98% of the genome was dark matter, or we didn't have ways to look at it, but we know this somehow always contributed to cancer or other diseases. And unfortunately, we could never dive in and look into those abnormalities or that part of the genome. And this is something we are getting to just go there now.
Does a cancerous genome look different than a healthy genome? Is it something that you can spot with your naked eye? Is it a different shape?
I mean, definitely nothing with naked eye. So this kind of technology.
I mean, the naked eye, I apologize. The naked eye looking at an image.
Yes, yeah. So definitely. I mean, this is what we are being trained for. I'm trained for as a pathologist to spot that difference with something which is anything similar to normal cells. And those differences not only drive the cancers, but also help us to treat that difference or abnormality, design new drugs or find existing drugs which may not be traditionally assigned or used for that particular cancer. So finding techniques or technologies to identify that abnormalities, which is only specific for cancers, is what makes all this a lot more exciting and better for the patient care.
Do you think optical genome mapping can lead to an earlier diagnosis in some cases?
Absolutely. I mean, we are looking at not only early diagnosis, but better diagnosis. Not only better diagnosis, we can classify the leukemias way better and have very specific abnormalities identified, which not only help us what we call as prognostication or design prognosis, but also identify targets for those specific abnormalities. So we were looking at change in clinical management. I mean, there might be some leukemias why we can identify patients who can go for bone marrow transplant early rather than give them chemotherapy and then come with a relapse. Or identify new abnormalities which we never know existed because of the older low resolution technologies. And these abnormalities we know either having something which is FDA approved therapies for other cancer which could be used in these, or have these patients put on new clinical trials which are looking at so many new things.
All right, so you mentioned your training has equipped you with the ability to obviously notice the abnormalities between cancerous cells and genes and non-cancerous. Is this something that you can communicate to the patient day of? Can they come in, you do the optical gene mapping, genome mapping, you get the images, and you say, listen, I know this ain't right, and you tell the patient right then? Or is this information that you take to the oncologist, and the oncologist takes it from there and communicates with the patient?
So in cancer therapy, the process usually is the patient goes to the oncologist first, and they looked at it because they come with some sort of symptoms which are not associated, maybe not with the cancer. So you may feel tired, or you may feel dizzy, and then you realize that you actually have a leukemia. So the oncologists make the diagnosis, sends us the sample, but the data, we try to make it extremely simplified. So even when we share the information with oncologists, the patient should be able to understand and make meaningful use of that information.
Well, I think you already answered this question when you talked about early detection, but I am presuming that the optical genome mapping might in the future lead to better cancer outcomes?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, outcome is basically how quickly can you intervene in the treatment plan. And if you find something which all these years, we're calling it normal. So if you say, oh, this is something which is abnormal, then we can not only make a better plan, but actually make a definite plan which changes the clinical outcome. So I am more than comfortable, 100% guaranteed that these kinds of technologies will definitely change the way we look at cancer, better classify them. So all these things ultimately accumulate or make better outcome for patients.
I have about 30 seconds left. Doctor, it may be too early, but I would suspect that you're going to be getting a lot of attention from other parts of the country, potentially around the world. Has that started to happen yet? People going, oh, tell me more about this OGM.
Yes, already. I mean, we are getting samples from Atlanta, we're getting inquiries from Massachusetts. So people are already discussing what we have done here. We are the first lab in the United States which are doing this for patient care. All the patients who are coming to Georgia Cancer Center or for leukemia treatment will get an option, not just option, you'll get all this testing done. Our oncologists will be able to do all this thing for them.
You know, Dr. Colhay and I were talking in the lobby before this interview, and I said that he is a fixture on Channel 6 because of all the amazing research that you and your team do. And we want to continue to shine the spotlight on the Cancer Center, certainly, and on MCG at AU. You do amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
Absolutely. When we come.
So guys, there was a few key points there. They said, you know, do you believe that optical genome mapping is going to help with earlier diagnosis or, you know, earlier treatments? So this was one of the most key points. Leading to earlier diagnosis, especially in, you know, blood cancers, leukemias. You know, when you're looking at these kinds of patients, it's very aggressive sometimes, the form of cancer. And as Dr. Colhay was saying, sometimes he believes that there's cancer there, but with the current techniques that they have with karyotyping in fish, it doesn't flag up. So that may not flag up, and the person may go away thinking that they don't have cancer, but they may still have cancer. You see that? Can you imagine that he believes there's cancer? He says there's 100% cancer cells, but because of the low resolution, he was unable to, you know, help the patient, and it's very frustrating. And he said 40 to 50%, you know, every single day, day in, day out of the cases, 40 to 50% is happening with. So he really believes that optical genome mapping can help with this. So yeah, this is Dr. Ravindra Colhay, and he was saying that there's interest from other parts in different states. If you've watched this whole video and you've made it here, you'll see that he has interest from Atlanta and Massachusetts. And he said people, because it's the first lab that's currently doing this in the United States, he said that there's a lot of interest and people coming to see, you know, what have you done here? What have you been doing here? So let me know your thoughts and feelings. Let me know what you feel about the technology. I know a lot of people are feeling frustrated, and we've got this like cash runway we're worried about in terms of waiting for adoption. But it seems that some researchers and some people that are utilizing optical genome mapping really believe that it can become the standard of care, especially with leukemias, you know, with blood cancers. So let me know your thoughts and feelings. If we're going to gain adoption in time, will we fulfill the full potential? What other issues can you see for us in the future? And just let me know how you're feeling as an investor in total. Do you have confidence in management? Are you upset with the way that kind of management's handled even the ATM facility? So when they were raising money through selling the at the market shares, why didn't they do this when the stock price was a lot higher? You know, you can't predict the stock price, but if they were thinking, yo, we're going to be spending this much, we're going to be doing these acquisitions, we're going to be buying Purigen, we're going to buy Biodiscovery, we have this much money set, how much will we burn per quarter over the next few quarters? How much are we expecting that we'll need? Will we be going for FDA approval? How much will we need? And they could have raised so much more money when, you know, the stock price was even $15 a share. They could have been selling loads of shares. And the ATM facility as well, they could have been selling shares all the way up when I don't know, when it was $6, $5, $4.20 in August when it hit $4.20. They could have sold loads during that time period because they had the facility in place. Now, in the most recent quarter, I'll do this in the next video, but in the most recent quarter, they were raising funds and they were selling ATM shares, and I saw that the average price for one of the quarters was $1.60. So they decided to sell a few million shares at $1.60, but they could have done it ages ago and got a lot more bang for their buck. And obviously we're experiencing as shareholders further dilution every time they do this ATM facility, and what they plan to do maybe in the future, we're going to experience further dilution. And it's not nice for us as shareholders, because although we really like the technology, we want to help a lot of people, and we can see that the technology can help people. You know, the technology looks amazing. In terms of returning value to the shareholder, this is what we're here for. Investors invest so we can make money. We want to make money. So we just want to know going forward as well, from management, they can't make promises, they can't give any certainty that, you know, adoption will happen and customers will not only be adopting the technology but sustaining the technology and continuing to use it. But yeah, what we're calculating at the moment is the amount of flow cell usage. We're waiting on these codes, and we just want some clarity as to like a foolproof plan. They set out milestones and they hit milestones. The guidance also I wasn't that impressed with. I thought we'd have a guidance of like 48 or maybe 45 mil for the year. It seems it's a lot lower for 2023. So I hope they give us a surprise and have revenue beats. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video, but I'm reading through the 10K. I want to read as much as I can and get really into the nitty gritty and just look at the financial health of the company, what the kind of plan is. I'm trying to read behind the lines. Also want to look at expenses and how they're burning money so fast, and what they have in terms of, you know, stock compensation in the future. I want to review all of that stuff just to make sure, you know, we're not going to get super diluted and they're not going to hit their milestones. I want them to reach their milestones and really get adoption and drive home, you know, this moonshot, as Dr. Ravindra Kohli calls it, the optical genome mapping moonshot. Anyways, I wish you guys the best. Please remember, it's not financial advice for entertainment only. Let me know how many shares you hold below and at what prices. Let me know how you're feeling as an investor. I wish you a lovely day. I wish you a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next video. Mr. Oh my gosh, asthma. Mr. Asthma. Mr. Invest a lot. Over and out. Baby.